expanding bakeries in the city, Sweetish House Mafia, with a degree in finance from Wharton School of Business. Her childhood passion got the better of her and she made the switch from banker to baker. She now sweetens the palate of the city, one crumbly cookie at a time, wielding her whisk to make magic out of sugar, butter and a generous sprinkling of chocolate chips. Neha has been featured in several national publications, including Business Standard, Vogue and Economic Times, and has also been on the cover of Forbes India. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage the one and only Neha Sethi.
Hello everyone, it's a great honor to be invited to speak to you all today. It also is such a pleasure to see all you bright young minds gathered here, and I feel very lucky to be able to share my story with you today. My name is Neha Sethi and I'm the founder and owner of a chain of cookie stores across the city called Sweetish House Mafia. Today I am going to speak about my journey, which led me in a roundabout way to now doing what I love every day. In doing so, I hope to share with you some of the lessons I've learned along the way. You guys are here on a Saturday morning, so I assume you are all good students, or at least very motivated ones. I was a good student too. After my 12th, I went to the US to study. I did a year at UC Berkeley and then I completed my undergraduate at Wharton School of Business. Since I didn't really know what I wanted to do back then, I thought good grades equals good schools, which means finance. You never know whether you like something until you try it, and I realized I don't like finance pretty much from the get-go. But I had to deal with it because it was my choice and that's the only thing I knew how to do. So I stuck with it, graduating with a finance degree, and then did the natural progression to investment banking in New York. I worked at Bear Stearns in New York. The hours were grueling, the work was mind-numbingly boring, but I gave it my all. I shouldn't complain, investment bankers are paid really well. But the economic meltdown happened, my company closed down, I lost my job, and I was on a one-way ticket back home to Bombay. I was interviewed back then by Harvard department for a class through a friend about the economic meltdown and the fact that I was now unemployed and how it affected me. Until then, I never thought of it as a setback or challenge. I simply thought that at the very least, I could remove one career option from my list of so many possibilities. Finance was out. It was after the interview, the gravity of the situation really hit. Unemployed, having spent 4 years developing skills and a degree I had no intention of using. After that, there were 2 brief stints in education tech startups when we thought we would change the world. We did not account for the fact that the world did not feel like being changed. Maybe my heart wasn't in it. After putting in so much effort into a career I didn't like, maybe I was just looking for something that I could truly love. As if those things just miraculously happened. I was a good student, a school leader throughout. I always had something I was working towards, and now suddenly I had no real idea what I intended to do with my life. I remember feeling so awkward in social settings when people asked me what I did, and I had no answer. Throughout all this though, my baking was constant. I baked to feel better. Who can't drown their sorrows or indecisiveness in a nice big bite of a cookie or a cupcake or brownie? So I baked. I fed myself and I fed my friends. My family wanted no part of this caloric intake, but my friends loved it. They loved it more with each bite and they pushed me more with each chunk, urging me to do something with this gift of mine. Share my goodies with the world. But how could I? I was no baker. I had no background or experience or any training whatsoever. What if no one liked it? What if it didn't do well? My baking was a very personal part of my identity. The one thing I considered myself good at. And if people didn't appreciate it, then what would I be? That's probably one of the subconscious reasons I chose to stay anonymous. If I failed, no one could point fingers and say, oh, there goes Neha Sethi, the failure. I could just fade away and wallow in my misery, no one being the wiser. It was sort of a trade-off, my name for this small leap of faith, to go outside my comfort zone and try something different. So the leap was taken. A small leap with a nano instead of a shot. After all, it was just a hobby, a passion project. It wasn't meant to be my career. Let me backtrack for a second and give a quick overview for all of those who don't know about Swedish House Mafia. It was a mobile bakery selling cookies out of a nano at different times and locations mentioned on Facebook and Twitter the day before. It is my tiny nano-shaped food truck. People who want the cookies just follow us online, look up the details and arrive at the designated place or time to get their share of goodies. It's that simple. I did the baking out of my home kitchen with the help of one domestic staff. A very small operation. I made the logo on PowerPoint and the name was a joke that my brother-in-law came up with. Except it blew up and how. The novelty of a food truck, the anonymous baker, the delicious products and the catchy name, the media just lapped it all up. Major publications, Hindustan Times, the Times of India, India Today, Mumbai Mirror, Forbes, television and radio interviews, NDTV Good Times, 94.3 Radio 1, the works. It had become a craze. My friend told me about the one time she was in line for the cookies. She didn't even know it was me. She was trying them for the first time and wanted to know what the hype was all about. So she queued up and bought her 2 cookies. Now this is where it gets amusing. As she was handling her change, one of the cookie packets slipped and fell from her hand and it fell on the floor. The crowd gave a collective gasp. They said, "Oh my God, what has she done?" And she was just worrying. She said, "Oh God, these are just cookies." But that's what SHM had done to Bombay. SHM was everywhere, and it brought out a variety of responses from the people. I had people driving in from Bandra to South Bombay to get their hands on some cookies. People writing me the sweetest letters about how I made families come together by distributing such sweetness. And even to be fathers satisfying their pregnant wives' cravings in Breach Candy Hospital. Never in my wildest dreams had I expected such a widespread reach. The craziest time for the staff and me was one monsoon delivery late Friday night. It had been raining and I did not expect much of a crowd, so didn't send my usual numbers. In fact, I didn't even plan a delivery till say 4 o'clock and I said, okay, I'll send out a delivery at 10 p.m. It was a big mistake in terms of the small number of cookies because according to what my staff recounted, there were upwards of 200 people that were cramming to get their hands on a very short supply of cookies. There was absolute chaos with young kids added into the mix. Cops were trying to shoo away my little nano, and in the middle of all this, some celebrities' bodyguards just dipped into the basket of cookies and decided to take how many ever cookies they wanted. They paid, of course, but it was still out of line. My poor staff was so frazzled he was almost in tears. Which brings me to the biggest challenge I faced with my passion project turned career. Actually considering it a career. While I got this press, while my tiny venture was featured in papers and blogs and magazines, I was not doing anything different. I was just baking a little more than I usually did for my friends and sharing them with Bombay. I could not fathom, and to be honest, could not cope with the demand. I would send 100 cookies and I would have over 100 people line up. We actually had to ration it. My staff used to count how many people were present before the car got there and divide the cookies accordingly, ensuring everyone got something. The limit was 2 cookies to a person. This could not go on. For every person who was happy they got a cookie, there were others who were upset with the scarcity. It was time to either wind up or ramp up. Opening up our first brick and mortar space was a leap of faith. No low cordon bleu degree, no background in hospitality or the food industry. Just me and my oven and the conviction that I made damn good cookies. In hindsight, being industry outsiders helped us because we didn't know the established way of doing things. We found our own ways. That helped us stay lean, more efficient, and retain almost all the staff we started with. We consistently promote from within, so a lot of young kids who started with us as counter staff are now store managers or purchase managers. Every decision we took was around a central philosophy of keep the customer happy. This actually helped center us and gave us a mission, which I think is very important to a new business. Besides the very real challenges of opening a brick and mortar cafe, the challenges I faced in my head were way more daunting. Would the store do well? Would I let my family down after investing so much? Would people still appreciate SHM if it was so easily accessible? Would I still be able to maintain that freshly home-baked quality as I did with my home kitchen? How much of a market share is there for cookies rurally? It was such a niche, we were the first store. I had so many apprehensions, but I had to swallow it up and take the plunge. You can't be afraid of failure, or you can be afraid, but you shouldn't let it control you. So I plunged away. After the first tentative step, there was no looking back. My brother-in-law Akash joined me to help SHM reach the potential we both believed it had. We jumped in with both feet. And now I am proud to say that SHM has 6 stores in Mumbai with a lot more in the pipeline. We have a fantastic team that is our foundation for growth. We still have new mothers stepping out of the house for the first time after their baby and heading straight to the SHM store. We still have customers who just love the cookies so much that they land up hugging the counter. Yes, I have seen this. We still have customers who come back almost every day, sometimes twice a day. I have gotten the stamp of approval from my customers, and I feel tremendous satisfaction when I see people enjoy themselves at the store. It is fun and friendly place. I could not be happier with my decision to follow my true passion. Investment banking, finance, they were safe options for me. A degree in Wharton does not help while following that path. But I love to connect with my customers, and I would walk this same path every single time. What I have learned on this journey, and I hope to pass on to you, are a few things. Firstly, there is no substitute for hard work. You have to put in the hours. If I hadn't spent 6 to 7 hours in the kitchen every other day for a year, churning out cookies from my countertop ovens, I wouldn't be standing here today. Secondly, you have to be smart about your work. My investment banking background came in handy very early on. I meticulously kept track of what was popular, what were the costs of each cookie, what locations were most successful, etc. This helped shape strategy and form the backbone of our management systems and strategy even today. I can safely say that SHM is one of the most systems and analytics-driven food joints in the city, though our casual look and feel would never display that. We track every single aspect of data regarding consumption and production that we can, and are constantly analyzing it to improve ourselves. To the company, the Excel sheet is as important as our oven. Thirdly, figure out what you would love to do early on in your career and love it truly. It sounds cliche, I know, but if you genuinely love what you're going to work every day, you won't work a day in your life. Working at SHM is a labor of love for me. I was 8 months pregnant with my little baby girl when I opened my first store. Fourthly, teamwork is key. Your team depends on you and you depend on your team. If it wasn't for my brother-in-law Akash, I could say that maybe SHM wouldn't have expanded as it did. He brings in qualities to this team that I wouldn't have been able to bring in otherwise. He does operations, I do product development. We bounce ideas off of each other. It is very important to have someone else who believes in you and someone else who also believes in the company. And there should be no ego in accepting the fact that maybe you aren't the best person to handle everything in your business. Fifth, like I mentioned before, it's okay to be scared of failure, but do not let it control you. I was scared when I failed with the first 2 startups, and I was scared when I was starting off the Nano. But if I was scared and had given up, then I wouldn't have gotten here. So it's okay to be scared, but take the plunge. Lastly, do not be afraid of change. It is the only constant. Be afraid of stagnation, move forward, move sideways, even move backwards, but always keep moving. You have too much potential inside you to ever be bored in your life. Before I end, I want to share some fun SHM facts. We go through about 50 kilos of Nutella every week. We go through almost 500 kilos of Belgian chocolate every month. Since opening our first store, we have sold almost 500,000 cookies. I'm telling you all of this because it shows how far SHM has come from the Nano days. Becoming a baker was an absurd career choice for someone with my background, especially when it was something so niche. The cookie segment didn't even exist. When I was baking in my kitchen for the Nano, I never would have believed those numbers. But I followed my path, and I urge you to follow yours. With a dream, hard work, and endless tireless conviction, I do believe that success can come to each one of you. Thank you.
Yes, if you have any questions, if you'd like to ask any questions, especially how do you lose the weight from all the cookies, We'd love to know that. Because there is a store in Oshiwara, I think, I always stop there for a sea salt Nutella cookie. Yes, please give her a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.